Greetings, students. All right, so you should be done with your keywords and concepts videos this week for the British of the South. So we're starting with some of our readings. So we're starting with our secondary source. We always start with a secondary source because they're way easier to understand and they help us understand the primary sources. So for this week's secondary source, we're reading a very brief article from the National Park Services about the writings of John Smith. Yeah, that John Smith, like Pocahontas John Smith. Except no, most of that's not true. So we're going to be reading, like I said, it's a brief article from the National Park Service, and it does a very good job of kind of putting John Smith in a context. Okay, so here's the thing with John Smith. The reason that we're such a fan of John Smith is one, because he left a lot of written records about his travels, and two, because he's kind of American. He's kind of like the first American. He was very much a self-promoter, okay? This was a person from the middling sort, right? His parents were farmers. He was supposed to be a farmer. He didn't want to be a farmer. So he went in the military and decided to go join the Virginia Company and do all this kind of thing. And obviously it worked out pretty well for him. But he was a shameless self-promoter, shameless, absolutely fascinating human being. So we have to take his observations with a grain of salt because we know that while most of the stuff he wrote about was factual, we also know that some of it was, well, not. So for example, when we're talking about the famous scene where Pocahontas allegedly saves him from dying or whatever, that didn't happen. No. We know this didn't happen for many reasons. One, the indigenous folks generally didn't kidnap people to kill them in that way. If they were going to kill you, they were going to kill you in the woods. They weren't going to take you back to their village to do it. Second, we know for a fact that parts of that ceremony were part of an adoption ceremony into the tribe that he just misunderstood. Because, didn't speak the language, didn't know what was going on. And third, and possibly most importantly, there are 4 other accounts in his writing of him being magically saved by beautiful indigenous women. Yeah, so we're going to take that part with a grain of salt. But he has other great stuff to talk about. So go ahead and read this introduction to James Smith. It gives like a little mini biography and a little bit about his writings and stuff. And then I've pulled an excerpt from his writing for us to read for this week, and I'll have a separate video introducing that when you're done with this one. All right, I'll see you in the next video.